what's the difference, Alex, between unique value and USP? Like, people are very common
Yeah.
uh, and people use it in their elevator pitch and probably all the time in their strategy, sometimes maybe as a North Star. What's the difference between those two ideas for you? Because you lean into unique value, and you kind of emphasize there that companies need to figure out their unique value.
Yeah. So one of the things that in my work, I'm very careful to avoid ever using established terms like USP or positioning or value or mission or whatever. And the reason that I avoid them is because people think that these things have fixed meanings, but they don't. So like when someone says, oh, well, my USP is blah, 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 you don't really know how they are using USP. So in theory, somebody might actually use the term USP in the same way that I'm talking about unique value, but equally they might not. Yeah. So I'm just going to talk here to the way that I normally see USP being used. So we need to step back a second and understand that the unique value is the one singular form of value that your entire business, the entire machine of the business exists to put out there in the market and get paid for. So it's what the entire thing is driving towards. The whole business only has one concern, and it is that. And the business could have 100 products and do 100 different activities, but they are all laddering up to this thing. And the value, it's not a feature. It's not, it's not a sort of micro benefit. It's the thing that the customer gets that they are willing to pay for, right? And that is not going to be your product, right? So you can't say our unique value is that we make robust running shoes or something like that, right? So that would not be a form of unique value. The product is simply a tool by which you deliver the unique value. So for sake of argument, a robust running shoe, which I just sort of like made up, one that's really sort of like tough, that might ladder up to the unique value of something like, I don't know, adventure running. I'm making this up. So that's what the customer wants. They want to run, but not on the road, like in a boring way. They want to run and adventure at the same time. And so then that company maybe completely owns the concept of adventure running. And then they can do all of these different things below, of which that trainer is just one of them, in order to deliver that to the customer. Because ultimately that's what the customer wants. Now, when people talk about USPs, they aren't normally talking about the singular reason for the whole business existing. They're normally talking about like a feature. So there'll be something like, I'm being a bit reductive here, but they'll say something like, well, other toasters have got slots for 2 slices of toast, but our toaster has got slots for 3 slices of toast, and that's our USP. Now, this USP might be very, very important to the value offering. So again, like in this stupid toaster example here, possibly what we're actually talking about is, I don't know, a kitchen equipment company that is all about, I don't know, event catering or something like that, right? So therefore, yes, of course, their toaster has got more slots for toast than the other ones. But the story there is about the being able to efficiently cater for large groups of people, right? That would be the value, right? The extra slot on the toaster is just one of many micro innovations of that business, which ladders up to that. So, yes, the thing that you have as a USP, it's pretty likely that ladders up to the strategy of the business, because ultimately, like, again, we know that we're shooting for unique value. So if you have a feature or quirk or characteristic about your business which is unique, then yes, it's pretty likely that thing is doing the heavy lifting to deliver your unique value. But you see what I mean? You kind of need to take it a click up conceptually to look at it from the customer's point of view. So I guess if I was this probably wouldn't work most of the time, but a decent chunk of the time, you could just say, all right, my USP is X. What does that mean to the customer? So you ladder it up that way. So the USP is such and such. What then does the customer get from that, from the customer's point of view? And the answer to that might be the some form of unique value. And if that form of unique value is something very exciting, then you should be orienting your entire business around that thing. So you might find, well, actually, okay, fine, we've got this one USP, which does this interesting thing for customers, but the rest of our business is completely generic and actually doesn't speak to that thing at all. So what if we pushed everything in that direction? And see, that's what strategy does, because remember, it's the guiding light for everything in the business, not just that one USP. And it's when you start pushing everything in the same direction that you start to create this really unique and powerful business, as opposed to perhaps where you were coming from with your USP mindset, which is kind of like generic business, but with this one unusual feature.
Right. Okay. Yeah.